Pubcast. If you're not listening to Pubcast, the terrorists are winning. That's what Jay Moore says.
Welcome to the Pubcast. Sit down and enjoy a pint.
Okay, we're back. Finally, after a long hiatus, the Pubcast is back. After the past few months, we've had to fight through all sorts of technical issues, software updates, the publishing platform not working properly, and then a little thing called coronavirus hit. And apparently my computer caught it. It was in recovery for about 3 weeks. The jackasses who were fixing it must have been listening to Trump because the cure was definitely worse than the problem. But I have my computer back. We can edit things, we can publish things, so we're all good. So the Pubcast is back with a new format. The old format was fine, but we couldn't get together often enough to generate any sort of rhythm. So we're going back to our roots. This podcast was originally called Boardwalk Breakdown, and we used it to just go through that week's episode of Boardwalk Empire, break down the themes and the characters and all that good stuff. So now we're going to mostly focus breaking down classic movies, some of our favorite movies and maybe even TV shows, and other pop culture stuff. So with this new format, I'm also going to experiment with some different music choices and different segments, so things will evolve over the next few episodes. So for this first episode in our new format, we decided to tackle Ferris Bueller's Day Off, a classic movie that everybody likes. There's all sorts of behind-the-scenes stuff that we get into. We recorded this on day 6 of the quarantine, which seems like 3 years ago at this point. This one ran a little long, so I broke it up into 2 parts. So be sure to check out part 2. But for now, here's part 1 of the Ferris Bueller's Day Off breakdown.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
What is so dangerous about a character like Ferris Bueller is he gives good kids bad ideas.
Well, why should he get to skip school when everybody else has to go?
Syphilitic meningitis.
He never gets caught.
This guy in my biology class said that if Ferris dies, he's giving his eyes to Stevie Wonder.
Well, he's very popular, Ed.
I recall Central Park in fall.
Ferris Bueller, do you know him? Yeah, he's getting me out of summer school.
They think he's a righteous dude.
Think he'll be alive this weekend?
I can see him denying popular belief, setting off on some impossible mission.
He jeopardizes my ability to effectively govern this student body.
He does whatever he wants,
You know, as long as I've known him, everything works for him.
whenever he wants,
He's very cool.
and he never gets nailed.
Ferris can do anything.
Oh, he's such a sweetie.
Wake up and smell the coffee, Mrs. Bueller. It's a fool's paradise. He is just leading you down the primrose path.
Matthew Broderick.
Bueller. Ferris Bueller.
Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Because life is too beautiful a thing to waste.
All right, so let's jump into this. Ferris Bueller, or Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So here is the IMDb explanation of the plot. Take this with a grain of salt if you want. High school student Ferris Bueller wants a day off from school, and he's developed an incredibly sophisticated plan to pull it off. He talks his friend Cameron into taking his father's prized Ferrari and with his girlfriend Sloane head into Chicago for a day. While they are taking in what the city has to offer, school principal Ed Rooney is convinced that Ferris is, not for the first time, playing hooky for the day and is hell-bent to catch him. Ferris has anticipated that, much to Rooney's chagrin.
Wow.
That's not exactly, that's fine, but I'm not a fan of that one. So, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. When did you guys see it? How'd you react to it? Did you see it in the theater? Was it a big deal when you saw it? Because I don't even know if I think I saw this in the theater. I'm not even positive.
I definitely did not see it in the theater.
This would have been 86.
Yeah, I definitely did not see it in the theater. I think it was an end of year slumber party at Julie Bradley's house. And we watched this and Fright Night.
End of the school year.
Yeah, and I think 86 for us would have been 7th grade.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was, we watched Ferris Bueller's Day Off first, and then we watched Fright Night after that. So we rocked the 80s.
So this would have come out in the spring of 86?
No, we watched it on VHS.
No, maybe not.
So maybe it was,
I
maybe
just
it was
looked it up. I
8th
looked
grade
up
then.
the original release date was June 11th, 86.
Yeah.
So then maybe it was at the end of 8th grade,
Yeah.
because it was definitely at her house.
Yeah.
Yeah, because VHS those days, the movie release would be almost a year later.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think I saw this in the theater. Definitely saw it on VHS 1,000 times in junior high. I didn't see Breakfast Club in the theater either.
No.
That was well after when I saw that, I think, on TV or something. This movie was not that, I don't remember it being that big a deal. We all wanted to see it, but if we were not like, it was not like a must-do thing for the summer or whatever. Like it was, we'll see it, whatever. I think we were maybe slightly too young for it.
Yeah.
To be that jacked about it. Eric, you'd have been really too young for it.
Yeah, summer of 86, I would have been 9 years old. I remember seeing the commercial for it when it was first released. I remember the shot of the parade and the huge crowd, everybody jumping and screaming during the parade. And I remember that shot in the commercial and then didn't think about the movie again until, I guess it was a year later. It was right on the heels of when Allison saw it. I think Allison saw it at a slumber party and came home and said, this movie, we got this movie. And you said it makes sense. You said it was an end of a year party because I remember it was summer vacation when we rented it and watched it on VHS at the house.
Yeah, absolutely. I specifically remember the, hey, batter, that whole scene because we would see the Cubs on the Superstation in the 80s when I was in Southern California. So I knew about the Cubs and Wrigley Field was a big deal. So I'm like, oh, that's Wrigley Field? They got to shoot in Wrigley Field? How those kids get out of school for... They had a baseball game during the week in the afternoon? What are you talking about? That wasn't that... in L.A., they didn't have that often, I don't think.
What?
Well, let's say I never went to one.
Fair, I would say that is probably the right way to phrase that.
Yeah. Bastards. All right, well, so this movie was happening, or the idea, the pitch happened right before the writer's strike, apparently. John Hughes had made a couple movies, Breakfast Club and some others.
16 Candles.
16 Candles right before that, right? So he walks into Paramount with a one-sentence pitch. He hadn't written anything yet. And his pitch was, I want to do this movie about a kid who takes a day off from school, and that's all I know so far. Based on that, they greenlit the movie because of his previous successes.
Yeah.
Greenlit it to an extent, I think, probably. And then he wrote the script in 6 days.
6 days?
6 days.
Wow. How long is a script typically? Like 100 pages?
I think it's on the outside. I think it's closer to 70-ish. 70 to 100. I think each page is like a minute of screen time, roughly.
Got it.
So, depending on how much dialogue you have. So, Anthony Michael Hall of 16 Candles fame, he believes that John Hughes wrote the roles of Ducky and Pretty in Pink and Ferris Bueller for him.
Anthony Michael Hall thinks that?
Yeah.
He thought it or still what?
Thought it and thinks it.
And thinks it.
So
John Hughes, as always, my understanding was he had like his acting troupe or whatever.
Yeah.
And like Molly Ringwald was a big part, obviously.
Yeah.
Was part of that, and so was Anthony Michael Hall.
Yeah. So Eric, hang on a second. Before we get into that, let me set up what the structure of this podcast is going to be. This is different. So we're going to go through some of these dopey sort of fun facts of the production and some of the details. Then we're going to dive into casting issues. Then we can talk more about Molly Ringwald and all that stuff and casting issues. And then we'll talk about, who almost was cast. We'll do, if we are recasting the movie ourselves in modern times, what that might look like, which I have nothing to offer to that. Memorable scenes and quotes.
Kind of
Yeah. What's that?
I said it sounds almost impossible.
Yeah, it's impossible.
I feel like I've got a couple good ones.
I don't know any actors under the age of 25. So
I feel like I've got some good ones.
I can't possibly do it.
Yeah.
And
I watched it today. Well, never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Don't jump the gun. We'll go into pet peeves if you have any. We'll go into Rotten Tomatoes scores and reviews. And then we'll do the how much are they worth game at the end. Mm-hmm. Just for the hell of it. So, Eric, before we get into the Molly Ringwald stuff, let's go through some other sort of fun facts. Robert Smith of The Cure wrote a song for the art museum scene that was never used.
What?
Yep.
Huh.
I can't imagine a I guess
like a Cure.
The museum
was it? Simple
scene,
Minds,
yeah.
I think
it was the Smiths.
Oh, the Smiths. You're right.
It was sort of a.
Yeah.
It was a Smiths cover, right?
Like a real keyboardy kind of
slow sort of.
Yeah.
Introspective sort of song from the Smiths that would have been could have been The Cure, I guess, but seems weird.
And he wrote it specifically for the movie?
Yeah.
For that scene.
Apparently, I didn't find it, but apparently it was, I think, recorded.
Is it available?
They had it and they cut it. They cut the whole. There was a whole subplot or something that they cut that. Right. That was part of it. I don't know.
Interesting.
I can't imagine a Robert Smith song specifically for a movie like that. You might know more about this, Eric. I don't know. Matthew Broderick says that the Ferris singing the Donkashane song in the shower was his idea. And then John Hughes had the idea of him doing that on the float in the parade, and then throughout the film, there's 4 different places where it's used.
So the shower scene was the start of that song being throughout the movie. It wasn't like the parade, whatever, German-American, whatever.
Broderick says that was his idea, was the shower part. And then Hughes expanded that. Oh, that's great. Let's have you do that throughout the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's interesting.
Do you know what that... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I always wondered kind of why that song keeps coming up throughout the movie. And I guess like Ferris Bueller, he kind of had, like, his style was almost kind of Rat Packy, but then like his room was didn't seem like didn't fit that style. It was sort of like just you'd see like Simple Minds posters and stuff, so it didn't really why that song would be such a big deal to him. Always confused me a little bit.
Yeah, well, the Simple Minds poster, it was sort of a John Hughes nod to Breakfast Club.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So the parade that Ferris was in, at first, I mean, I always forget that it's a German parade. I mean, if you pay any attention, it's clearly everyone's in lederhosen, like it's definitely a German parade. But because it's Chicago, I always thought, it's the Pulaski parade. It has to be. It's not. It was the von Steuben's Day parade. Apparently, some German parade. But it's happening in the movie on a school day in the afternoon. Like it's like don't know who's
Only
going to this
adults are there.
parade. Yeah.
Yeah.
And apparently Von Steuben's Day is in mid-September every year. And this movie is clearly set in the spring. Like, it's definitely, I mean, there's baseball, so it's definitely April or May.
Yeah. There could be baseball in September.
For Chicago in the 80s, not so much. But, yeah, so there are a number of, I don't know if you call them continuity issues, but sort of seasonal issues with what's going on in the film, because it's supposed to be spring, but there's clearly parts where it's definitely fall, and we can get into that later.
Right.
Von Steuben's Day Parade.
He's just highlighting what Chicago has to offer.
Yeah, I'm sure he is. Okay.
The tourist commercial for Chicago.
Well,
just going back to IMDb.
So I think it's Robert Ebert's review of it, or someone's review of it, they say like, oh, it's fine, and he kind of goes on a tourist's version of a Chicago day trip or whatever. He's like, yeah, this movie doesn't really work that well, but it does work well as a Chicago travelogue, because he goes in so many different places that are famous, but nobody would ever do the actual day. Anyway, okay, back to this. Oh, Ben Stein. So he's the economics teacher, apparently.
Right.
But if there is a still frame of Ferris's schedule on Rooney's computer when he's looking at the grades go down, whatever, and Ferris does not have economics at any point on his daily schedule. So when he says Bueller,
I always thought that was homeroom. Because they're going through,
well, homeroom, you still have to have his class, though. He's in economics.
I didn't. My homeroom teacher was a French teacher, and I didn't have her ever as a teacher.
And mine was a shop teacher.
What do you mean? How are you in their room and not have her as a teacher?
You're there for the first 10 or 15 minutes of the day. Sorry.
Oh, that's different. No, our homeroom was just a designation of our second period class. Like there was no, you didn't go to 10 minutes of homeroom and then go to your real classes. Like it was a class. Like, oh, everyone has homeroom second period. Mine was math, and so-and-so's was English, and so-and-so, whoever you had for second period, that was your homeroom.
No, I definitely, no, mine are, I mean, I don't remember, Eric, if it was one day a week or if it was every day, but,
we did it. Well, my first year or two, it was once a week. It'd be like on Monday or something.
Right.
But by the end of my time in high school, it wasn't even a weekly thing. We would just have homeroom when there was some specific thing that needed to happen.
Yeah. And I had the same homeroom class and teacher all 4 years.
You go there for 10 minutes as just
like 10 or 20 minutes.
Housekeeping issue, like just
housekeeping. It could be voting, or if there would be like some like weekly like silent reading. Like there were all sorts of things.
Screw that! I have no idea what I'm talking about. Then wonderful.
Yeah.
You crazy Midwesterners. Chicago, Milwaukee.
That's right.
But in your defense, though, Brendan, the class, when he's giving the attendance and everybody who's acknowledging that they're there, they're sitting in that classroom being taught that lesson. Yeah,
definitely. He's teaching DOO economics, voodoo economics, and that was the Bueller, taking attendance thing. So whatever, I don't know. So Ben Stein, who is also a lawyer, I think we've all seen him on TV, and he got that
game show.
That game show with Jimmy Kimmel, however long ago. He was also when Ben Stein's money. He was also a speechwriter for Nixon and Ford.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's like he has a real career outside of acting.
I mean, that part I knew. I just didn't know about the speechwriting part.
That I didn't know. He was a full-blown legitimate economist.
Yeah.
And before we started, I was reading through the IMDb, and it talked about that a little bit, how he sort of how he and John Hughes sort of eventually got connected through, like, he got 6 degrees of separation, and eventually, from someone from Nixon's staff to, a couple different stops, eventually to a casting director introduced him to John Hughes.
Like, he's known for being on screen for stuff or on TV, but that's like the least of his career.
Right.
It's crazy.
Interesting.
So I didn't have a chance to group all of these sort of trivia together, so we're going to jump around all over the place in this movie. But Broderick hurt his knee earlier in the movie. They shot it out of sequence, so he hurt his movie running through the neighbors' backyards, I think severely hurt it in some way, and so he couldn't do any of the dancing choreography on the float for the Dunkashane part. So he's just standing there. So he jumps a little bit at the end, but he can't move because his knee's hurt.
Wow.
Yeah. Does anyone here? I guess I know what you speak. Eric, do you speak French at all?
I do not.
Okay. Rooney says that French phrase,
Les jeux en fait.
Les jeux en fait, right. And he says it means the game is up, right? It actually means the bets are made. As in, croupier at the roulette table. He says that to forbid any new bets in the roulette game. So it's the bets are made, like all bets are made, not the game is up. I think that's splitting hairs and no one cares,
right.
But I had no idea.
How has Jill not commented on that, Eric, at some point?
Yeah, she speaks French, right?
Right, she does.
Knows French.
And she likes to make, I've heard her make jokes saying that quote.
Oh, really?
In situations where, like, somebody's screwed or something, she'll try and use that, she'll make that joke.
Les jeux sont faits. Okay. So, remember when Cameron calls Rooney as Sloane's father? Well, apparently he is doing an impression of Matthew Broderick's impression of their director on Biloxi Blues. So they worked together on this Biloxi Blues play, and their director sounded like this maniac that he does the impression of.
So it's an impression of an impression?
It's an impression of Broderick's impression of this guy. Yeah.
So Biloxi
I always
Blues
wondered where
was
that voice
before
came
Ferris?
from, because it's a very unique sort of voice.
Oh yeah, it sounds like a cartoon
sort of
character.
Come out of, yeah, that's interesting. I always kind of wondered where that came from.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, here's like the thing about the spring and the fall deal. The movie takes place in the spring, yet at Cameron's dad's garage, some of the leaves on the trees are changing colors. You can see them sort of getting brownish, orangish, whatever, yellow, because it's clearly in the fall. Because this was filmed during the fall, and they have these Cubs scenes, and it was definitely, they put it in the spring because of the grades and whatever. Some of the leaves were hand painted green for the shot. Like some of them are changing to orange or whatever, but they painted them green.
And I even kind of made a point of looking at the leaves in the background just to kind of get a sense of when it would have been filmed, and I missed it. I mean, I saw a lot of flowers and stuff, but I didn't see. Short
of there not being leaves, spring and fall here, it can be tough to tell. Okay, here's a good one. Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen in the movie is the drug guy at the end. Okay, so to get his look, I know we'll all be shocked. He stayed awake for more than 2 days to achieve that look.
Oh my God!
I'm sure he was jogging every morning and drinking a lot of water. But yeah, he was doing his tiger blood. Is that it? Winning.
Yeah.
He was in that persona already. So he is playing a character that had a name in the script and had a whole backstory. His name was Garth Volbeck, and apparently there was a whole version of the script. I've never seen it. I mean, it's out there if you look for it.
Of the 6-day script.
Probably, yeah, an early version of the script where Garth, Charlie Sheen's character, was a friend of Ferris's. Like, they were friends in 8th grade or something, and Ferris had tried to help him because he knew his home life was bad. Tried to help him a lot, or in some ways, to improve his life and get him out of that house and whatever. And Garth wouldn't take his help and turned to drugs and went down this bad path of and he ends up at the police station at the end of the movie.
Right.
There's a whole scenario there where Mrs. Bueller is showing a house to the Volbeck family, to Garth's family, because they're moving in or moving out or whatever the hell. And the towing service that tows Rooney's car is Volbeck Wrecking Service.
Oh, awesome.
So Charlie Sheen's dad, I guess, is the tow truck driver who
owns the tow truck company.
Right. Yeah. That goes to Ferris's house to take away Rooney's cars. There's a whole backstory there that seems strange. I can't imagine what that movie is. That's a way different movie.
It's a different movie because everything takes place in somewhat real time. So there's no like going back.
Right.
There's no.
It's the whole movie's.
The backstory is told in the current.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's at least another like 30 minutes of screen time to.
Oh, at least.
Out.
Well, and I was reading about this. This sort of dovetails into what Ferris is doing in this movie, supposedly, is because of this failure to help Garth and his turn to drugs and getting in trouble with the police or whatever. That's why he's so hell-bent on getting Cameron out of his house to take him to go skip school for a day. Because he sees Cameron's bad home life, and Ferris is this do-gooder who wants to help everybody, supposedly. And so he wants to help Cameron because he had these failures with Garth.
Interesting.
I think that's a reach. How can that possibly be?
Yeah.
That's not the case in this movie. I don't see that. But a number of people have made that connection. And even in, I think it's Ebert's or Siskel's review, they kind of mention that a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. So it's not just Ferris skipping a day and being a knucklehead and, hey, you have a car, so drive me. It's, I'm doing this for you. I want you to get out. I don't care about me. I want to get you out to skip school.
Okay. Except for
I know.
How could I be expected to go to school on a day like this, right?
It doesn't, the dots don't connect there. I don't see it.
There's a little bit about it, the way he talks about Cameron when he's talking in the bathroom and talking with Cameron's sort of catatonic by the lake. He's kind of some of that sentiment, but yeah, that's a completely different movie.
Yeah, sure, there are bits and pieces there, but that's not. In no way is it hinted that that's his motivation for anything.
Right.
So, great. Okay, the high school they go to is actually Glenbrook North, which is not far from here.
Right.
So, while the high school's name is never stated in the movie, it's suggested that Ferris Bueller and his buddies go to the same high school as the Breakfast Club kids.
Right.
Because almost all of John Hughes' films take place in Shermer, Illinois. And the Breakfast Club, when you see the Breakfast Club school from the outside, it does say Shermer High School.
Right.
And the poster inside of Ferris's school, when they show a couple of the inside shots, the poster says, Go Shermer, or whatever, right? So they're definitely in the same school.
Same universe.
Same universe, yeah. The John Hughes shared universe. I don't know if that's the case with Pretty in Pink, though.
Yeah.
You can see 16 Candles, maybe. Pretty in Pink, I don't know.
Yeah.
Where does Pretty in Pink take place? Chicago area?
I don't know. I don't think it's really obvious.
No.
I'm trying to think if there's anything that would suggest that it is.
If you told me it was outside of Cincinnati or something, I'd believe it, but
yeah.
I have no idea.
Eric, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Pretty in Pink does not fit in there at all. I would almost, to me, you said Cincinnati, and I was thinking of what town it might be, and it's almost like, I don't know, like Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah.
It feels like a suburb, sort of, a blue-collar town or blue-collar adjacent. You know what I mean? With what's-her-face's dad, Molly Ringwald's dad, sort of a depressed former steel worker or something, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. He worked at a mill somewhere or something.
Yeah.
Or factory.
So, back to Ferris. Ferris changes clothes 9 times before leaving his house. 9 times! And of course it's 9 because, I mean... It's,
9 times.
Hopefully there's purposeful symmetry with the 9 times of changing his clothes and 9 times of being absent, but yeah. Well, he's putting on a bathing suit, hanging outside for 4 minutes to call a camera, and he's putting on the get up with the horn, the flute,
the clarinet.
Oh, wow. The hoof, the paw.
You didn't grow up with a mother as a music teacher?
I couldn't pull a clarinet. Yeah. Okay, so the Ferrari's license plates. License plates are a big deal in this movie.
Yes.
The Ferrari's license plate reads nervous.
Right.
And apparently some of the other license plate in the movies, or license plates in the movie, are nods to John Hughes' earlier films. Mr. Bueller's license plate reads M Mom for Mr. Mom. Mrs. Bueller's reads VCTN.
Right.
Vacation for National Lampoon's Vacation.
Oh. I was trying to figure out what that license plate was. I'm like, gosh, it's so odd that it's 4 letters.
Mr. Rooney's plate reads 4FBDO for 4, I don't know but the 4 part, 4 Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh.
And then Jeannie's plate was never seen on screen, but supposedly it read TCB for The Breakfast Club.
TBC.
TBC, right.
Watching the movie today, it was Mrs. Bueller's license plate, the VCTN, was driving me insane trying to figure out what that was.
I totally agree with you, Eric.
Yeah, like you said, Alice, 4 letters like that means something, but it was driving me insane. I couldn't figure out what it was.
It's almost too obvious. I mean, none of us realized it the first time we saw it, I'm sure, but I mean, they're all like vanity plates. What family is having vanity plates for no reason in the 80s? Just something that's just a weird thing.
Aren't they free in Illinois, though?
Yeah.
Vanity plates?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no fee to get a vanity plate, so they're kind of...
It used to be a big deal, but now you can...
running amok in Illinois with vanity plates.
Although, all the fun ones are either taken or illegal. You can't do anything... you can't do the ass man or anything like that.
Right.
So Ferris Bueller has a poster for Simple Minds' Don't You Forget About Me in his room. That's Breakfast Club. The disguise that Ferris wears to pick up Sloane is on his mannequin in his room.
It's so funny you say that because I noticed that today for the very first time, and I've seen this movie 100 times. And I'm like, oh my God, it's right there on the left. Coat. Yes, on the mannequin that was in the bed.
It's weird. Is it supposed to be some kind of weird foreshadowing or something? But this is a comedy. Who cares?
I mean, I think it's just showing that he's got all of this stuff that's just kind of ready to do whatever.
He's
Eric,
ready.
have you ever seen that?
I did not notice that before.
Yeah. And we are looking at it earlier when he's adjusting the dials on his stereo, whatever. In the back, like right behind him, you see he has a little monitor, a TV set behind him. You can see it showing a chair with a horse on it or whatever. And then 30 seconds later, you see that the chair is actually in a different part of his room. He has like a security camera in his room set up. Who knows why? It's just such a weird thing. He has his room is not that big.
The only thing I could think of is like, does he broadcast? Like, does he do like any sort of like
his own YouTube channel?
Prehistoric
in
podcast?
86?
Yeah, it's like MTV.
It's weird. I mean, it's fine, but it's a weird little thing.
What did you do with all of that besides the snore and coughing and sneezing?
Yeah.
What does he have all that equipment for?
Yeah. Well, we should come back to that when we talk about if this had a sequel, what would that sequel be like? Because maybe there's a whole thing with him and all this technology and what the hell is going on there.
Yep.
Ed Rooney's car was a mid-'80s Chrysler K car. It's almost the exact car that I had in high school. His is light blue with 4 doors. Mine was dark blue with 2 doors, but it's effectively the same car.
Yeah. Ed Rooney.
K car. It was a piece of shit, but it was fine.
Yours.
Yeah.
You didn't even have a piece of shit.
In high school, that thing goes old. Makes you in high school, you got a car. That's all you need. Doesn't matter.
I know. I got a car. He got a computer.
Right.
So this is a personal thing for us. Well, it came up for us. When Eric, you got to walk me through this one, how this could happen. When you rent this movie on Amazon Prime, it lists, the director, the whatever, and it lists who's...
Like the IMDb rating and...
some little tidbits about it. It lists who's starring in the movie, and in order, it only lists 3 people as starring. So in order, it lists Charlie Sheen, Jeffrey Jones, Jennifer Grey.
What?
I know! So Charlie Sheen, who's in the movie for 43 seconds at the end, a character without a name.
In the movie, right, yeah.
Jeffrey Jones, who is Ed Rooney, and Jennifer Grey, who's the big sister, who's a third, fourth character at best. They don't mention Matthew Broderick.
That's insane.
Yeah, the 3 main characters.
Yeah.
The 3 people that you follow through the entire movie.
Yeah.
I can see that.
How about the guy, the actor who plays
the title role?
The guy who was in the title of the movie, Ferris fucking Bueller.
I could see them doing Matthew Broderick and then doing Charlie Sheen and Jennifer Grey just for name recognition, because they're not. I mean, nobody knows who Sloane Peterson.
Great.
I don't even know what her.
Mia Sara.
Oh yeah, but
I know it's ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous.
Crazy. That's. Yeah.
Yeah, there's some ridiculous algorithm somewhere that they have for rating celebrities and who's the most popular. That's how that got.
I guess so, but is number 2 Jeffrey Jones? Does that roll off your tongue? Oh, let's go see that new Jeffrey Jones movie. Ferris Bueller. What? Yeah. Okay, so casting. Casting is kind of interesting.
Is there any other... Eric, you had said that you had some trivia. Were there any other bits of trivia that you think are good to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot with this movie, so I'm sure I missed
Yeah,
a
there
bunch.
was a lot. And Brendan, you hit on... Because I was reading through it, and I didn't even get to finish reading through it when you called.
Yeah.
But all the ones that struck me, Brendan, you hit most of them. Like the license plates and
Yeah, I thought that was good.
The Cure and stuff like that. Yeah, all that sort of stuff was sticking out to me already. So, yeah, I don't have anything else. I guess the only thing that I do want to come back to the story about John Hughes having the one, like just the one sentence pitch for the movie, and then took 6 days to write. I thought I had heard a story where, like, the idea for the movie, like, John Hughes was working with somebody else on a different movie, and they were working, like, living in the same house and, working through a script, and essentially John Hughes woke up he essentially had a dream, and in the dream is where he came up with the idea for the movie, and the other guy woke up to John Hughes sort of writing something out, and John Hughes is like, "Oh, do you want to read this? It's my new idea for a movie. It's called Ferris Bueller's Day Off."
No. And that other guy was Quentin Tarantino. No, yeah, I mean,
I was thinking about just the name Ferris is
I'm curious
good.
about that.
It's so good. I want to know where it comes from.
It's got to be like a family name or something,
Yeah, but you got Jeannie is a fairly traditional name. That you get Ferris is interesting.
Yeah, I one of the things I did read where he talks about, it's like Bueller is like his maternal grandfather's name or something like that. So that's where I got Bueller from. But his name is like, Bertie Bueller or something. Like, where does Ferris come from?
I don't know. It's a name I've never heard before or since.
Yeah.
It's crazy. All right, let's get into casting. If you have any other trivia that comes up, you can blurt it out whenever, but we'll move on. So, a lot of times you'll have these sort of weird casting things, or casting stories, like not just they came in for an audition, but some weird thing happened, and by fate, this person got this thing. I didn't see much of that for this movie. It was pretty straightforward stuff.
Other than, like, your comment where Anthony Michael Hall
Hall claims that he was Ferris Bueller,
That's a very different movie,
he says
by
that,
the way.
Yeah, but John Hughes says, I wrote this for Matthew Broderick. Like, I had him in mind the whole time. Who knows, whatever.
Right.
But so... Which we are recording this on Matthew Broderick's 58th birthday. So happy birthday, Ferris. So I didn't have... the part was written for Broderick, so I have nothing for him, really.
It is hard to believe if he's 58, the part he was playing, he was 18. So 40?
He was like 24, 25.
No, the part he was playing was 18, not how old he was when he was playing the part. I'm just saying, I mean, it's kind of like a 40-year stretch. It's just interesting.
Right. Yeah, so Broderick got the part for the lead, and then Alan Ruck, who plays Cameron, he was doing Biloxi Blues with Matthew Broderick, and his agent convinced Hughes or the production people to give him an audition because he worked well with Matthew Broderick. They looked the same age, even though he's 6 years older than Matthew Broderick.
So he was almost 30?
He turned 30 like just after the movie came out.
Oh my God.
So he was 29 or whatever when they were filming this. So that's how he got the part, was basically having worked with Broderick right beforehand, the Biloxi Blues thing.
I don't know that movie very well. I mean,
Biloxi Blues?
Yeah.
Well, the movie, but that was the play.
Oh, got it.
They did the play on Broadway. Movie came... Matthew Broderick did the movie, but later. Yeah.
Okay, that's why I was confused. I'm like, Biloxi Blues came first?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes much more sense. Yeah. Okay.
So, Matthew Broderick's 25, let's say, 24, 25. Right. Alan Ruck is 29. Sara was 17 and 18 when she was filming. her first movie was Legend with Tom Cruise.
Right.
So she had these two movies and then disappeared, like did some stuff, but nothing you would ever recognize. Did some stuff, and then the last time we see her basically is in Time Cop in 1994 with Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah. Ferris, Legend, and Time Cop are my only three references to her in any other movie I've ever.
Wow.
She was working and did some stuff, I guess, but nothing you would notice.
Yeah.
So fun fact about Mia Sara. Fantastic, I found this one. She was married to Jason Connery, Sean Connery's son. They divorced, and she is now married. So she married Sean Connery's son, got divorced, and then she married Jim Henson's son of the Muppets.
Brian Henson?
Yes, sir. I love that you know Jim Henson's son's name.
Well, Brian Henson is a filmmaker on his own. He made A Muppet Christmas Carol, and the movie that came out just a couple years ago with Melissa McCarthy that everybody hated.
Oh yeah, the Happy Time Murders or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Here's the adult puppet movie that was highly offended everybody. He directed that too.
I forget. If we go into Muppet territory, Eric's gonna crush with trivia.
Right.
So. Okay, so that's Broderick, Ruck, Mia Sara. During production, on-screen brother and sister Ferris and Jeannie
Jennifer Grey
were dating.
They were?
They were dating. They started dating while they were filming the movie.
Oh, I think I did know that.
Yeah, and they got engaged just before the movie came out.
Wow.
So it's fine, but it's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
And they have very few scenes together.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. So here's another one. So that happened, and then Cindy Pickett and Lyman Ward play Ferris's parents.
Yeah.
They met on set and eventually got married and had 2 kids.
Whoa.
Ferris's parents are actually married, or were married.
I think well, gosh, did I know that? I feel like
I did not know that until I read it today.
I know.
That's good. That's good.
But then I think I did read though they got divorced a couple years later.
Yeah.
Like by 1992 they were divorced.
Oh really?
Yeah. It kind of works with those two for some reason. I don't know if
it does.
If we're used to seeing them together in the
Right.
movie or what, but yeah. All right. Let me get a drink before we go to who was almost cast, like the casting rumors and stuff.
Okay.
Eric, do you have anything? You can chime in if you like, but.
Going back to, this is sad, but going back to Matthew Broderick and Jennifer Grey being engaged, I guess they were, this is actually very sad, but I think it's part of the reason why they never got married, is they were involved in a pretty serious car accident when they were like vacationing in Ireland or something, and they were in a car wreck, and the other people in the other car were killed.
Oh, wow. Really? Whoa.
Yeah, I don't.
See, I was going to make a joke on they didn't get married because of Jennifer Grey's nose job.
He didn't recognize her?
Yeah. She became so plain that he's like, he couldn't find her in a lineup. Like, she just became, Wow, I didn't know about the car wreck.
Well, did you know that before today, or like before researching this?
No, I read that tonight.
Wow.
All right, so let's go to casting sort of rumors or reality that didn't happen. So this is So the movie came out in 86. This would have been 84, 85 when this was cast, right? Supposedly Johnny Depp was considered for Ferris. I saw somewhere that he says he turned it down. I'm not sure he was ever offered it, but he was considered at least. But he was considered and potentially turned it down due to scheduling conflicts because he was shooting Platoon in the 80s.
You could almost see him playing the Charlie Sheen character more than the Ferris character.
Oh, in hindsight, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Young Johnny Depp as Ferris, I still don't get it.
I don't get it. I don't get him as Ferris at all. But the Charlie Sheen character,
well,
I could see that.
Anybody can almost do that one, right? So, as with every movie in the mid-'80s, Eric Stoltz auditioned, and he was considered. He did not...
Or maybe he probably got the part, shot for a couple of days,
Right.
was too intense when they fired him.
He filmed a couple scenes. You can find him on YouTube, but then he never, panned out.
Yeah.
So he didn't get it, but a couple of years later, he landed a role in John Hughes' film Some Kind of Wonderful. So he did get in there, but not for Ferris. Apparently, the one that was really considered, except for Broderick, who really had an in and almost got it, was John Cusack. John Cusack in 85 was almost Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
Okay.
I could buy it. Better off dead, John Cusack. I could see it.
Yeah,
No?
yes, I can see why, based on the character of Ferris that is portrayed in the movie, there's a... I'm not thinking of the right word. It's not sophisticated, but there is like a kind of charm maybe, or there's like something about the character that would endear him to adults in a very different way than I think a John Cusack portrayal of the same character would be.
Yeah.
And that's why he gets away with so much stuff that he does.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a different movie with
Right.
John Cusack, for
Right.
sure. I don't think it really works that well. I could see it happening, but it's a different movie.
Yeah.
So I have 4 other ones here that I read various reports that they were all rumored to be in the running. I don't believe any of them, but I'll throw them out there. And the 3 of them, one of them is pretty obvious. The rest of them, I think they're fake. But so
For Ferris?
For Ferris.
Okay.
Rumored were Michael J. Fox. Sure, I don't know.
He and Eric Stoltz.
He and Eric Stoltz were vying for Back to the Future and Ferris Bueller at the same time. Jim Carrey, who was a complete unknown then.
That doesn't even seem right.
That makes sense.
That makes no sense to me.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr., I could see.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, definitely.
And he ended up in Weird Science later. And
way more than either John Cusack or
young Robert
Johnny
Downey,
Depp.
I could see that happening.
For the reasons I was saying before, and kind of the
Right.
charm or how he can
Sort of
manipulate.
Mischievous, but you don't hate him. He's not a bad guy, but he's not the best. He's not perfect. Yeah. And the last one, which makes no sense whatsoever, this has to be just a fake internet thing, Tom Cruise.
Oh.
He would have been way too old for one.
Right. Wasn't that like Top Gun around the same time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Top Gun came out that year.
How does...
What year did Risky Business come out?
Like 82?
That was my next question. I want to say like 83?
Yeah, 82, 83. Gotta be.
And he looked,
Well, if you put him in that Top Gun era, which is effectively the same time as this, give or take a year.
83.
Tom Cruise in Top Gun could not play a high school kid. He couldn't be 18 years old. You gotta be kidding me. Yeah, so that's gotta be fake.
He's born in 1960. Tom Cruise was born July 62, so he'd have been 22, 20. He'd have been the same age. He's the same age as Matthew Broderick, essentially.
Oh, really? I thought Broderick was, say, 5 years younger.
Huh.
All right. Well, so then for Cameron, the only one that I saw was apparently Emilio Estevez was offered the part and turned it down for some reason.
Oh, thank God.
For Cameron.
Yeah, that's no good.
Take that with a grain of salt. I don't know if that's real. For Sloane, apparently Molly Ringwald wanted to play Sloane, but John Hughes said that the part was too small for her.
I could see that.
That makes
I
sense.
feel like that role is a little interchangeable.
Yeah. And it is a small role, and at that time she would have been getting bigger.
Right.
All right. So after we hear the castings, the real casting stuff, and then the rumor stuff, do you guys have anybody from that time that you would have wanted to see in there besides the people who were on screen? Like, would you have replaced anybody with somebody else? Because I think it's perfect casting. I don't know how you...
I totally agree.
Other than Sloane, maybe there's other unknown stars that movie actresses that would have done that, but I have no idea.
Yeah, Sloane is a character you could literally put any actress into that role and would have been fine.
Yeah, I mean, she's sort of, she's not a main player.
about that at all.
Yeah.
There's no challenge. Acting-wise, I don't think there's a real challenge there.
But she works as a love interest for Matthew Broderick. Mm-hmm.
Right.
So there's almost like some chemistry there that it works.
You got to see that person standing next to him and believe that they would be a couple. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's effectively it. Okay.
To answer your question, I can't think of anybody that I would change.
No.
I mean, this movie is
pretty
high up on my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
For nostalgia reasons, for casting, the dialogue, the pacing, I love all of it.
We just watched it a couple hours ago. It absolutely holds up, and it's still funny.
It's so good. It's so good.
So, all right, based on all that stuff, or not based on it, but an extension of it, now take the movie and recast it today. So you're going to make Ferris Bueller today, same script as much as possible. I mean, obviously we have to adapt for 2020, but as much the same as we can do today. Cell phones cause a major problem with this entire script, but forget it.
It doesn't, because I feel like there are scenes of the movie, though, like with cell phones, that would play very differently with social media. So, like the whole payphone scene,
everything would
for example,
be different.
I think would be really interesting. Rather than the kid collecting coins.
They would get nailed at the Cubs game in 18 different ways by somebody with a cell phone or something.
The parade. How does the parade
posting a picture on Twitter or something? The parade would be a huge one. So putting all that aside,
right?
This is the recaster bait for this movie. Recast this movie 2020. It's going to come out next year. Who do you got? Because I have a few people here and there in some role. I have one role I have no idea how to cast. But I have some, and they're all way too old. I can't even come up with anything for this. So, Allison, you appear to have something going on over there. So.
I want to give Eric a chance, but I will say that for the preparation for this podcast, I did the most work on this part of it because I'm usually not very good at it. So I had to do a little research, but what I found, I feel really good about.
See, I think you've definitely got it.
when I watched it today, I watched it with all the people I picked in mind to see how they would play, and it works.
Okay. Well, let me go first, because mine, just for the sake of comedy, you will just laugh at mine because they're ridiculous.
Okay.
I feel only one makes sense, and it's an easy one, and the rest of them are I have no idea. For Ferris Bueller, the only thing I came up with, and he's definitely too old, was Michael Sara.
Oh.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
I have no faith that would even work. No. Cameron, I have no idea who can play Cameron. I have nothing. Because I don't know any actors under the age of 25 or 28 even. So, Sloane, I had two options. Both are definitely too old, but maybe they can pull it off. If we did this exercise 8 years ago, I think I got it nailed.
Right.
But today it's fucked.
Right.
Margot Robbie, young, unknown Margot Robbie for Sloane, maybe. Today, no way. Zoe Kravitz. Could
Zoe
probably
Kravitz
do it.
is a good one.
Yeah. Ed Rooney. This is what I like. Stephen Root, who is the guy from Office Space in Barry.
Yes.
I think he'd be a great Ed Rooney.
That's a good one.
I also thought maybe you go with somebody who's really into comedy, and maybe you go a Rainn Wilson with an Ed Rooney.
Okay.
I would love somebody who can pull off a mustache, but I don't know who that is.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Whatever. For the role of Jeannie,
yep.
This is just a shot in the dark, and it's bad. Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh.
Who can be bitchy? I don't know who that is, but that's all I got. The easy one, the biggest layup of all of this is Rooney's secretary, Megan McCarthy.
Melissa McCarthy?
Melissa McCarthy.
That's who I had.
It can only be her, and
That's
nobody
who I
else
had.
can. Come on.
Yeah.
I did have one other one that would work, but it's a throwaway character. Is Charlie Sheen's guy, Pete Davidson.
Oh, I thought of him too.
Pete Davidson will work for that guy.
Yep. I had him as a possible candidate. Yeah.
Again, I think that's an easy one.
Yeah.
So for the main characters, I get almost nothing.
Okay.
Eric, do you have any?
Would he be Chad? Would he be sitting on the couch just being Chad?
Yeah, he's basically Chad. Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right, Eric.
Do you have any thoughts on this one?
I have very few. This was the part that I needed to prepare for the most, and I ended up kind of preparing for the least.
It's all right.
But I do have a couple of ideas. For Ferris, maybe Tom Holland.
I considered him too. I don't know. I don't know about that guy. Maybe.
Yeah.
I love
maybe.
Tom Holland.
He's great. I don't know if he can do that.
For Sloane, maybe Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things.
I don't even know.
Okay.
Is she too young? How old is she? 15?
I feel like I need to see her in a different, I need to kind of look at her in a different way. It's so hard to think of her not as 11 or as a little girl. I'd have to see how she would be as
a legitimate junior in high school.
Yeah. Okay.
But you're closer in age than I am, so.
If this movie had been made, same situation, Brennan, we were doing this exercise a couple of years ago. For Cameron, maybe Miles Teller.
I was thinking about him too.
Yeah.
But that's as far as I got.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Al. This is your time to shine.
I hope it works. All right. So
I hope that I even know who these people are.
So I've had to kind of try to find reference points for you on a couple of them. So for Ferris, The actor I thought of, his name is Joe Keery. Your reference would be, yours meaning Brendan,
Yeah.
Your reference would be the trust fund kid in Molly's Game who gets busted.
Oh. For Ferris?
For Ferris.
Is he likable enough?
He is also the older kid in Stranger Things. He's the older high school kid that they all kind of follow around. Eric, do you know who he is?
I'm pretty sure I know who he is, yeah.
So he's got kind of longer hair, so you kind of think about this in a 2020 role.
It's gotta be.
He's got that look of, okay, comes from upper middle class, he can kind of play this charmer kind of
Is he
character.
likable enough, or is he too smarmy?
I don't know. I'm gonna put some faith that he can pull it off. But
We'll
that's
work
who,
that out
like,
in the
I think-
audition process.
right.
Yeah, we'll figure
So I
it out.
had him. Cameron, I really like my pick.
Oh my God.
Is Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash.
I thought about him too.
Yeah, okay.
So you think about him in all of those scenes and how Cameron plays it. It's so right.
I can't argue with that one. I don't know about. Yeah, I think it works.
Okay. Sloane was the hardest one for me. And I will still go back to my earlier comment, which is this is a character that's almost interchangeable, but trying to play off of who might work with the guy who I picked with Ferris.
Oh, yeah.
Her name is Chloe Grace Moritz. Blonde girl. She's in a bunch of different movies, kind of a young 20s character. I think she would work with him. Go ahead, Eric.
She was in Kick-Ass.
Yes.
That's what I know her from.
Yeah.
That's how I know of her.
Right.
She was Jack's nemesis on 30 Rock.
Yes.
Oh, right. That's pretty good.
Ed Rooney. Keegan-Michael Key.
Oh, damn it. That's a good one.
Oh, that's good.
That's a really good one. I did think about switching genders, switching race, and
I tried doing it in a lot of different ways.
I could barely come up with any characters, much less do that.
Felt strong on Kegel, Mike, and Key.
Damn it, that's a good one.
Like you, Brendan, I had for Grace Melissa McCarthy.
Yeah, I mean, come on, it's perfect.
The Parents.
You went to The Parents.
I did. Oh, I go deep. The Parents, I had Christina Applegate and Jason Bateman.
Okay.
All right. Bateman, perfect. Applegate, yeah. All right, I got no qualms with that.
Jeannie, I had Zendaya.
Yeah. I had her as a candidate for Sloane as well.
I did too. I did too. But you were saying who can pull off?
I know.
The anger, the brooding anger. I think she can do it.
I know.
Yeah, all she has to do is just sort of redo MJ from Spider-Man, and she could be Jeannie.
But I think it needs to be a little. It would be more. It's more than that. But yeah,
It's
I mean that's
bigger.
sort of what gave me the
More
idea.
biting, yeah. She's so damn likable, though.
So, but I mean, Jennifer Grey was the same way.
I'd never seen her before. Ferris. I'm saying.
Yeah. So the drug dealer, I was like you. I had
Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson at one point. A little too old, but I had Donald Glover.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So I thought that was would be kind of an interesting one. But who I settled in on, thinking about it more as like a total tweaker, kind of strung out heroine kind of character, I thought Timothy Chalamet could really pull that off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now for fan favorite characters in the movie, the two garage guys.
I love that you said the two garage guys. One guy's barely on screen.
Right. But I thought the two of them together would be funny. John Turturro and Jordan Peele.
Turturro, sure, he's too old for that part, but fine.
Right. Jordan Peele's they're both about the same age, but
I can't have Jordan Peele in a movie in such a small part.
But that's why I love it. It's kind of like a... So that gets to the very last one, which I almost started laughing at.
There's
while
more?
We're watching. It's the last one.
We got to the garage guys and there's still more?
There's one more, because we were watching the movie and I didn't think of it until we watched the movie today.
The florist delivery guy?
Not the guy, but the nurse.
Oh, okay.
Cardi B.
Sure.
But it wouldn't be singing that song. It would be doing some other whatever. But I'm trying, kind of thinking about the 2020 version of it. So.
Wow. Okay. That I did not realize we were going so deep with the recasting.
Wow.
All the way down to the I don't know what you call her, but the
stripper?
Yeah. The
prostitute?
Candygram escort.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.